Good evening, everybody. So, I prepared this study tonight so we can enlighten a little bit about limiting beliefs. You know. Throughout our lives, we're conditioned and shaped by several factors that help us think, feel, and act a lot of times. And then you could ask me, why talking about limiting beliefs in a Spiritist center, right? I could give you lots of different reasons, but I'm gonna tell you a story about my daughter. My daughter went to the movies last weekend, and she went to see the last Jurassic Park. And then she came home and telling me about the movie, and then she said, "Mommy, the movie conveys a lot of good messages." And I said, "Yeah, tell me about them." And then one of the messages that she said, so this guy said that our planet, that people will not evolve until we expand our consciousness. And how true is that, right? So, and to expand our consciousness, one of the things that we have to do is what? Be open-minded. And work on your limiting beliefs. Because if you have limiting beliefs and you don't work on them, are you going to be able to open your mind to the new things, to the new paradigms that may arrive soon, to the new forms of life, to the new planets? Are we going to be able to do that if we keep our minds narrow? No.
Can you boil that down all into education, like it's really science, technology, things like that?
Well, I'm going to present what I have, okay, which is a limited study. I don't know exactly what you have in mind. And then at the end, if you have any questions, and I can answer, I'll be glad to, okay? I don't know exactly what you have in mind, okay? All right, so that's why I'm bringing that, okay? So let's start with, what are limiting beliefs, okay? What can you say about it? So they are assumptions that we make about ourselves, about others, about how we expect things to be in our worlds. Everything that we think about things, they are creating and shaping our ways of thought, our ways of feeling and acting in the world, okay? So theories, explanations, conclusions, ideas, they help us understand the world, okay? So there are a lot of things that we're going to see throughout the lecture that will bring this back to you, okay? But everything we believe in could give us freedom or could limit us, okay? So we have to pay attention. So where do the limiting beliefs come from? That's what we want to talk about. So it could be a generalization of a painful experience. So let me give you an example. This little kid, 10 years old, let's say, walking on the street, trips on a stone, falls, okay? So he can have two ways of thinking, okay? One, he can say, okay, I tripped on a stone. Next time I have to pay attention, and so I won't fall when I run, okay? I said walking, but he was running. Then the next thing that he can think of as a generalization is, okay, I ran, I tripped and I fell. Running is dangerous. So he creates this limiting belief that he will not run again, no matter what, because this is dangerous. And we know we have this self-preservation thing. Some of us have more self-preservation within us, and some of us like to take more risks, right? Traumas, okay? Any trauma that I can suffer during my childhood or my teenagehood or even during adulthood can cause limiting beliefs. And we're going to see a little more about it later. Our parents, although very well-intentioned, they bring to us their own beliefs. And a lot of times we take on them and we believe on them as well. Okay? Conflicting relationships, abusive people, and not only physically, but the abuse of power. Okay, if you work with somebody that is very abusive, all of this can create limiting beliefs. So it's complicated. It's not that simple. And it's not because I say, yeah, I'm going to create a limiting belief now because this happened to me. No. It's in our unconscious mind. And a lot of times, we can't really work on it ourselves. Okay? So this psychologist called Robert Firestone, he elaborated an individual form of sense. And then he said that from the moment the children is born, they start to be defined by their parents. Right? And they incorporate experiences that they're not theirs yet. Okay? So often without realizing it, the parents project onto their offspring the struggles they have in life, right? Their own defenses related to their insecurities. And all of that goes to their children to some extent. And the child undergoes through pain, suffering in an early environment. So there is this Jewish humor that says, the father looks at the kid and encourages him to go up a ladder. Okay, the boy steps up. Okay, Dad, I got it. Go, Dad will hold you. So come to Daddy. So the boy throws himself to Daddy and he hugs it. Okay, go another step. Okay, you can do it. Okay, he goes one more step. Now come to Daddy. Okay, and the father holds the little boy. Then the boy gets so self-confident, and instead of going one more step, he goes up all the way to the top. And then he jumps, and the father just moves, and he falls on the floor. And then the father looks at him and says, never trust anybody in life, not even your family. What do you think that this child is going to take as a lesson for life? Right? The person that you should trust the most was not there when you needed him or her. Right? So, let's keep going. This way, we internalize things like, I do not know how to solve this problem. This is too much for me. I should look for things that are within my reach. I will never be able to achieve my goals. I don't have enough resources. I don't have the capacity to learn it. I don't have the skills. I don't know enough. I can't do it. So that's how unconsciously we internalize all that. And we go through life suffering, thinking we're not good enough, thinking we can't do it, thinking we don't have the capacity. So-and-so is better than I am. Those are all limiting beliefs. However, humans are a little lazy too. Sometimes they don't like to make the effort. It's easier to say all that because they are excuses for the things I do not want to do. Okay? So our self-concept emerges from all of these experiences. Okay? If they are positive events, like love and compassion, kindness, all of this will build up self-confidence. But if we have a lot of negative experiences in our lives, hurtful experiences, we're going to create something that Robert Firestone calls anti-self. Okay? So what is the self? The self is your innermost part, your psyche, is your divine part. Okay? So you're going to be anti-self. You're going to distance yourself from that and live with your ego. So this way, we're going to be judgmental. We're going to be critics of ourselves, critics of other people, of the world. Nothing is going to be good enough because we don't feel good enough, because we don't feel we can. Right? So our identity is shaped by interactions. Interactions with other people, interactions with the world, interactions with the experiences we have. Okay? Even an accident we have can bring us fear. So, how strong is a belief in our lives? It can be very strong, right? So your beliefs, according to research, influence 95% of the decisions you make. 95%. Okay? It establishes the basis of your self-image. It determines the goals you will or will not set and meet. It influences the ability to think creatively, constructively, and critically. It can help solve problems or create more problems. And it can determine how you feel about yourself, others, the events, and circumstances in your life. So you see how important it is to know that, yes, I have a limiting belief. And if I don't know that I have a limiting belief, I should sit with myself, look at my life, see how things are going. And if they are not going, why aren't they going? Why aren't they rolling? Right? Yes, sir.
You say that your beliefs influence 95% of your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other 5%?
Oh, that's you then, without your limiting beliefs, your true self. Okay? Yeah. Yes. And tells you what you will or will not do. Let's say I want to become an engineer in the future. And then my limiting belief will tell me, you don't like physics. You never did. You like chemistry. You know, you could be a chemical engineer, but you can never be a mechanical engineer. Right? So this guy is a coach, Tony Robbins, and he says, beliefs have the power to create and the power to destroy. Human beings have the awesome ability to take any experience of their lives and create a meaning that disempowers them or one that can literally save their lives. So like I said, if I have positive interactions, positive experiences, my beliefs will be different than of those that have had negative experiences, negative interactions with people. So who am I actually? Right? We thus build our identity from social, cultural experience, and above all, in the family environment, where the different emotional forms that will determine our behaviors throughout life are expressed. Okay, this is an earthly concept, but let's think about in terms of Spiritism. What else shapes our lives? What kind of influences? Human influence. Okay, that's human interaction. Okay, disincarnate. Very good. Very good. That's what I was looking for. Okay, we can bring limiting beliefs from previous lives, things that we have not worked on yet. Okay, so in this life, we're supposed to act as a nurse for our sub-personalities, which are personalities that we lived in different lives. Okay? If we play along, we're not doing anything. We're just reinforcing those beliefs. Right? So, if my social interactions create these limiting beliefs, so tell me who are you with, and I tell you who you are. Right? So I have to look for better companies. I have to look for people that inspire me. I have to look for people that want to grow. I want to look for people that want to learn, to do something good for humanity. So I have to change my environment if my environment is not doing me any good. So I can also have the opportunity to change my limiting beliefs, interacting with different people. It's not because I've had a bad experience with somebody or because I grew up in a dysfunctional family that I have to be like them. I have the power within to change it. But for that, I have to desire it. I have to have the will, because I do have the power. So sometimes we are stuck with a false identity. We are in that place, in that dark place where we can't get out because we think that we are someone that we are not truly. We justify this negative way of being through inappropriate behavior. Okay? These limiting beliefs can make us risk our lives, jeopardize our health, because the more negative I am, the more my body will suffer. It may not suffer immediately, but along the years. Right? We become absolutely paralyzed in our development. We're stuck. If we don't work on it, we're going to be in our little comfort zone, thinking that I'm the worst person in the world, everybody else is better than I am, and I have to be where I am because I just can't get out of there. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you do need somebody that say, hey, wake up. You can do that. I'll help you out. I'll give you a hand. Okay? And in our prayers, we can ask the Lord, please help me get out of this situation. How do I come out of this? So all that we are is a result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. The Buddha said that. Okay? So our beliefs shape our reality, and we are the main shareholder of our lives, meaning that we have to command. But who has to command? Our true self. Okay? Our inner guide. Not the ego, not the critical voice that keeps talking in our heads, the monkey chat. Okay? No. Us. You know what a placebo is, right? So a placebo is something you give to someone saying, hey, here, this is going to cure you. Right? And the person takes that and feels better because of what? The belief. The person believes that the person is going to get better. So one looks at you, are you the placebo? Aren't you? Because nobody knew who the placebo was, right? Some people will take the true medication. Some people will take the placebo, and nobody will know who took what. And that's the power of belief. And that's the same thing with the limiting belief, right? So we suffer with physical and emotional illness, loneliness, low self-esteem, feelings of incapacity, and fear that become an integral part of our way of existing, as they were natural. And they are not. We did not come to this planet to suffer. We came here to be happy. Of course, we have our debts that we have to offset, you know, but those should be learning experiences. Experience that would make me grow as a whole, right? And instead, we manipulate, we judge, we have bizarre behaviors, we wanted to attract attention, we isolate ourselves from family, from social contact, we don't act in the face of adversity, and we put our life projects behind. We put our evolution behind. Right? So Jesus came to the sick. That's what he said, isn't it? So we are not perfect, but we can perfect ourselves daily. We can become better and better every day if we so desire. So the power of a belief causes us to produce effects in our bodies. Right? Could be good or bad. They lead to lack of confidence, fear, and worry. They prevent us from experiencing success and achieving what we want from life. They can trap us in a cycle of helplessness, incapacity, and hopelessness. Oops, sorry. And our internal dialogue, to a certain degree, can determine our self-image, self-concept, self-esteem, and self-confidence. Right? So perhaps if we have not implemented so many despairing thoughts in our minds, we wouldn't have created a self-defeating pattern of facing life. So Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You just have to choose which way to go, right? You're right anyways. You choose your path. So how do we lift the veil that covers the limiting beliefs? We can ask ourselves some questions. What do I believe in me? What do I think I can do? What do I believe about the world? Do I think the world is nice and a good place to live, or I think it's scary and I have to hide? What do I believe I can achieve in the future? Do I think I have the capacity to do anything else in life? Oh no, I'm too old, I can't do that anymore. Maybe. It all depends on how you see it, right? So our brain, okay, has neurons that receives, processes, and transmits information. These make our memories. Right? So it's all there. We have to work on them. So breaking beliefs. What are the fundamentals of breaking these beliefs? Beliefs are not real. They are mental maps, abstractions of reality, which help us to predict a complex world. They're mental maps. It's the way I function in the world. It's not that they are real. As a matter of fact, nothing here is real according to Divaldo Franco. It's all a creation of our minds. We reject what does not fit. Once a belief is formed, we explain any inconsistent evidence. So when we have that belief, we're going to find evidence that will prove what we believe in, no matter what. And humans need coherence between beliefs, actions, and words. So we'll always find a way to give credibility to what I'm thinking or feeling. Right? So imagine a hot air balloon being pressed by 4 anchors. The balloon represents the belief that holds you, your actions and words, and the belief that influences your life. The 4 anchors that hold this balloon are evidence, logic, emotions, and social consensus. That's how we hold the belief. We always look for that. Okay? So let's say you believe in Santa Claus when you are a little boy or a little girl. Okay? So you're going to look for evidence. So something happens. Gifts appear underneath the Christmas tree. Okay? So that's an evidence. The gifts are there. Okay. But what is the logic? How does that make sense? Well, Mom and Dad were sleeping, so they couldn't have put the gifts under the tree. Okay, so that's my logic. Okay. Then the emotions. Okay. When I open my gift, it's what I wanted. So Santa knew what I wanted, and he brought it to me. Okay? And then I'm going to look for a social consensus. So I have my friends, Maria and Nicolau and Chico, that believe in Santa Claus. Therefore, he exists. So that's how we think. Right? We look for evidence. We look for logic. Our logic, of course. Whatever we have. Because everybody has a different logic. Every one of us is like a completely different universe inside here. Okay? So that's how a belief is sustained. Right? So let's analyze our behavior a little bit. Okay? Let's keep going here. I lack motivation. Do you really, or are you burned out? Examine your external environment. What situations and people are draining you? Do you feel supported? Do you really lack motivation, or are you just burned out? Right? So those are questions we can make ourselves. procrastinate too much. I procrastinate too much. Procrastination is a symptom, okay? Much like a fever, a stomachache, a headache, and it boils down to one thing, fear, okay? What is your procrastination a symptom of, and what are you afraid of? Why am I postponing that project that my boss has been after me every day asking? Why haven't I gone and looked for the job of my dreams? What am I afraid of? Why am I still here doing what I do not like? I don't have time. A quote by Lao Tzu, is that how you say in English? Lao Tzu too says, time is a created thing. To say I don't have time, it's like saying I don't want to. Perhaps the real issue is that you don't really want to change. What parts of your current situation do you like, and how are they affecting your desire to move forward? Okay? Sometimes we're doing nothing, and somebody comes and asks you for something. I don't have time. I can't do that. It's too much. Okay? So those are all little excuses that we make. I have too many responsibilities. Right? If you feel like you have so many responsibilities that you can't manage, so what do you have to ask yourself? Who and what are consuming your time and energy? Okay? Are these people and situations really your responsibility? How can you start to take responsibility for your own life? Because sometimes we take on responsibility that is not ours. And we create a big burden on our shoulders. And then we carry it like this. Right? So Joana de Angelis, the mentor of Divaldo Franco, says the following: we all wish to live with joy, good spirit, physical and spiritual vigor, harmony, serenity, peace. But what often happens without our realizing is that we aspire to these states of being come to us, led by outside situations or granted by the people around us. So we want to feel all of these good things, but we want others to bring it to us. Okay? The gospel of Christ, however, invites us to a different path that points to us. In an intimate work of unveiling independent of everything that surrounds us. Some of his sayings are true magnetic inductions for us to appropriate our being, our divine possibilities, as that one rescued by Matthew. Let your light so shine before men. Okay, so who is responsible for our light to shine? Ourselves, right? And she keeps going. We are spirit beings passing through the earth, blessed to school, with the task of activating our divine potentialities in a proper setting with personal relationships and challenges necessary for our development. Certainly, the definition of a daily methodology of self-knowledge, inner renewal, and expansion of consciousness in order to get the best out of our earthly experience may take into consideration some of the following items suggested by Maria Clara, the loving and dedicated spiritual counselor. Okay. So, in summary, nothing external is going to change us internally. Right? We have to let our light shine. Nobody is going to come with a match and make your light shine like a candle. No. So let's break the walls. Okay. So the human being must learn to be happy according to the circumstances, interjecting and living an understanding of his physical transience, as well as knowing about his spiritual eternity. I think that for us, that know, I'm not going to say believe, we know that we are not the body we are in. We know we are more than that. We are spirits of light. It's easier for us to go through the experience, to the transience of life, searching for betterment. But for people that do not want to believe for some reason, do not want to see life beyond the physical world, it's more painful sometimes. We also have to know the teachings of Jesus. He brought us so many lessons, so much, that today we can't really make sense of all of it. Knowing the work of Kardec also helps us with a lot of things, a lot of understanding. Once we start, the other thing is that we have to work our mental. Once they asked Joanna de Angelis, why do you write your books so difficult? Why is your language so difficult to understand with vocabulary that we have to go to the dictionary and look for words? And then she said, because humans have to exercise their brains. And a lot of us, or most of us, are lazy. We don't want to do that. A lot of people don't like to read. Not even the easiest books they like to read. Not even romances people read anymore. And it's an exercise for the mind. Doing puzzles, word search. Okay, this is all an exercise for the mind. So in our daily prayers, ask for the guidance of the spiritual counselor to assist you in identifying habits, thoughts, and emotions that affect your physical and emotional balance, as well as the inspiration of the means to overcome them. The desire opens in our psyche ways of access to superior spirituality. We know that prayer connects us to the higher realms, to the higher realms of light. And we should be doing it daily. It doesn't have to be in a specific place. I can be walking and praying. I can be driving and praying. I can be sending light while I'm exercising. Right? As long as I'm connected with my true nature, as long as I'm connecting to the creator of life. So choose an inspiring seed word and welcome it into your mind and heart, vibrating it, repeating it, assimilating your spiritual energy throughout the day. For instance, peace, serenity, love. You can choose a mantra. Let's say your mind is too agitated, or you have a stressful situation and you can't stop thinking about that, and that's bothering you to the point that you can't sleep. Choose a mantra. Choose a word. Breathe in and out. And remove yourself from that energy and go into a better state of mind. Integrate yourself in a disinterested service to others without expectation of any kind, without wanting any smile or recognition. Do voluntary work. Every time we're doing something for someone, we feel better, we feel gratified. Okay? So those are all ways that we have to disconnect from energies that are not very high. You can also write the limiting belief down, okay? Acknowledge that these beliefs are not truths, they're just beliefs. Try on a different belief and take a different action. So there are different ways of working with it. But first off, I have to acknowledge that I have a limiting belief. And I have to know what the limiting belief is. And then I can start working on it. Okay? It's the same thing as with anger or frustration or any other feeling that doesn't make us feel good. First off, we have to acknowledge that we have that. We have to acknowledge that we are jealous or envy or angry. Once we acknowledge that, then I'm going to look for the reason why. Why am I feeling that way? And then once I have figured that out, then I can start working on it. So there are some statements that we frequently say to ourselves, not that we all say that, but a lot of people use it. And I'm going to bring just a few. For instance, I cannot be my true self or I'll be judged. A lot of people are afraid of being themselves. I have to follow exactly the lead or my peers or whatever society tells me to. So instead of embracing this belief, I can say, it's not my job to please people in life. I'll be myself. There will never be anyone like me. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm going to be rude to people. It's not that. It's just like being myself. Okay, if I'm a happy person, why am I going to feel unhappy when I get to a person that is terribly always in a bad mood? Because people in a bad mood can make us feel bad. I cannot fall in love. I'll have my heart broken. Instead, I can say, I love freely because it is part of the human being. It is opening my heart that I will attract the right kind of love into my life. Like Humberto was here before, and he was saying that some relationships don't last more than 40 months, right? So some relationships have a beginning, a middle, and end, and some others don't. So if I had my heart broken, why am I going to have my heart broken for the rest of my life? I cannot ask for what I want not to be rejected. Instead, I can say rejection is part and parcel of life. Each no will take me closer to a yes. I need to first ask to receive. And that's a lesson that my father taught me. He always said, ask. The no you already have. Okay. And a few more. I cannot trust people because they will betray my confidence. So instead, you can say everyone is worth of my trust unless it is denied otherwise. Without trust, I cannot form a meaningful relationship with anyone. We cannot have relationships without trusting the other person. We cannot be friends with anybody without trusting. It's too late to pursue my dreams. Instead, it's never too late to get anything. The most important thing is that I take action now. Age is just a number. My current age is just a reflection of the number of years I've been alive, but not a reflection of my unlimited power as being. So these are all things that we can use to change our limiting beliefs. And there are so many others. These are just examples. Ooh. Sure. You're welcome. how to stop the monkey talk, okay? I already went over it, but first you have to label it. What kind of monkey talk am I having? Okay? First, limit the interaction with your critical voice. Okay? So the critical voice is not just a commentator, but a dictator trying to control our actions. Right? So I can resist to that by rejecting the advice, by rejecting the ideas, and by postponing whatever self-limiting action it's pressuring me to take. Right? Postpone the action, okay? That's what I just said. And seek distraction, okay? So if I'm in a moment that my inner critic is like really banging things into my head, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna breathe in and out. I'm gonna listen to music. I'm gonna distract my mind in order not to listen to my inner critic. Those are techniques that you can use to help yourself. Right? So whatever the thought may be, and whenever it arises, it should just try to notice it and simply say to ourselves, that's my critical inner voice. Okay? Always think, that's my critical inner voice. I'm not going to allow it to... I'm sorry, guys. Can somebody get me some water? Yes, thank you. So that's how we overcome it. So we can think as this as a ladder going up. Okay. So which step have you reached today? I can be all the way to the bottom. I won't do it. Thank you so much. Or I can go one step up and say, I can't do it. Then I'll think again. I want to do it. Okay? But how do I do it? And then I start thinking, right? I'll try to do it. I can do it. I'll do it. Yes, I did it. Okay? So let's think of this like that. You know? So wherever the Son of God is, there is light. Because we are light. And we are here to shine. So every person takes the limits of their own field of vision for the limits of the world. So we think that our vision, our limited vision, is the whole world, and it's not. There is so much more, you know. Like we are the sons and daughters of God. So let our light shine. Celebrities die of overdose because they live empty lives, lots of them. Most people suffer voluntarily because of living conditions, aesthetics, comparison with others, especially now with the media. Accepting ourselves as we are is fundamental. And we are all important. It doesn't matter the color of our skin. It doesn't matter the shape of our bodies. It doesn't matter our profession, our religion. It doesn't matter. We are all here for a reason. Okay? Let's be grateful to God, to the things we have, to the lives we live. Ingratitude makes progress impossible. So let us pray to God so we can expand our light. Let us be thankful. The intelligent man builds his house on the rock. He has no VIP treatment. We are all here to learn lessons. We are all here to experience. We have a commitment to life. So pain only appears when the soul has not yet awakened. So believe in yourself, believe in what you can do, and be happy.